How the fuck you try to label us anti-Semitic? We the Israelites, blacks, native Hispanics. The Germans getting locked up for the Holocaust. Meanwhile, black people still up in the Holocaust. 100 million of us died in the transatlantic. 6 million died. Y'all want the world to never forget it. You can never be a Jew. You a Ashkenaz. This ain't a star dum-dum. A gun die or die. Yeah, Yeezy told the truth and got ostracized. Not one person in the Bible had on a yarmulke. We was slaves in America like we was in Egypt. Y'all don't even fit the curses in the Torah neither. Y'all was blind to the truth. I had to make it clear how Jerusalem, your land, your people came from Europe. That was 1947. Your menorah got 9 sticks. It's really only 7. Yeah, it's us against the world. Armageddon. This what happened when you inherit lies from your ancestors. Y'all the synagogue of Satan with them black hats. Your whole nation sitting ducks, Aflacs. Bunch of thieves and culture vultures, ain't nothing kosher. To tell the truth, you vagabonds don't have a culture. Macedonia, Alexander and Philip, you a convert, so tell me, how the fuck is you Israel? That don't make you the people just cause you litter. Why my people can't hate your people like y'all hate Hitler? All the prophets was black and was called nigga. Y'all don't even fit the description that's in the scriptures. Abraham, all the way down to Jacob, we the real Jews. Y'all don't study Christ, y'all follow the Talmud. Keep it real, yeah, let's keep it real. Cold hard truth, it give you chills. Say y'all Jewish cause y'all ain't really them. About to do them like Hammond, it's the feast of Purim. U.P.K undefeated, this an easy win. We was born fighting, y'all the evil twin. Jacob took hold of his heel, then out came his little red bastard and they kosher deals. It's only 12 tribes, y'all trying to make it 13. Esau despised his birthright, the Lord cursed him. He ain't the devil, who is? I'm still searching. Ask your rabbi why he get them babies herpes. I don't know what's worse, that or you claiming that you a Maccabee. I'm about to cancel, everybody try to cancel ye. I ain't afraid to speak, that's what I do. They riding to the core, I'm just judging them by their fruit. Cause they ain't suffering curses. If I was carnal, I promise I'd punch you in person. I know this an uncomfortable subject. They making millions off our culture and black people suffering from it. Yeah, they don't believe in Christ, they the Antichrist. Make a living off of niggas, they a parasite. I ain't afraid to tell the truth, niggas terrified. I'm about to go DEFCON 4, I ain't satisfied.
That is proof, that is absolute proof that they know we are the real Jews. That's absolute proof. Now he got the records. Go find me a white Jew on any archaeology in Egypt anywhere. You will never find a piece of archaeology with white people as slaves in Egypt. So don't tell me that they were slaves and it's their identity and they know it. And another blasphemy of them, which they are Jews. The Lord knows the blasphemy of you so-called white people that say you are Jews and you are not Jews. You are not the people of the law. You are not God's chosen people. God's chosen people are living in the ghettos of America. God's chosen people are in poverty and depression in the streets of America. God's chosen people are walking around in America with no identity. That's where God's chosen people are.
Shalom, Israel. And when I mean Israel, I'm talking about the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. The Lord's 54th annual Passover is going down again this year, sundown, April 1st at 500 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Conventional Center. It's got enough room for all of us. The Lord's 54th annual Passover. Last year, brothers and sisters showed up from all over the world, rocking ancient garments and glorious apparel in order to serve the Most High in Christ. Now, it's that time again. Commander General YAHANNA is putting out the decree for all brothers and sisters to show up sundown, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us at the Sheridan in Raleigh, the hotel right downtown. It's at 421 South Salisbury. The Passover is right up the block at the convention center, literally within walking distance. Make sure you pull up. Make sure that you do your due diligence because rooms are going fast and they are limited this weekend. You understand? We have months in advance of preparation. Do not wait till the last minute to get your room. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, Saturday, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us there.
It's about time. Shalom Yahweh Hashem Shai Baraka Thumb to all the brothers, Yahweh Shemal Thumb Hashem Shai to all the sisters. This is a priest and officer 1000 Zabaja of the I.S.U.P.K under Commandant General YAHANNA, started out 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, and we teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites of the Bible, right? That's the truth they don't want to get out in the world. And tonight we're closing out the feast of Purim, in the Hebrew, right? It's a feast where we, Salakia, once again, we're remembering and honoring an honorable sister, right? And in a time when so many sisters choose not to be honorable, this is such a perfect feast to remember women who are honorable, right? A sister who put her own safety, right? She put her people ahead of her own safety, and that's what we're remembering today. So yesterday we left off in Esther 2, somewhere around 20, and we're going to go back there, right? So if you remember, Esther, she was in the king's palace, right? So let's get into it. We're going to start at we're going to start at Esther 2 and 20. This is the book of Esther 2, verse 20. Esther had not yet showed her kindred, nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandments. Salakia, actually, we jumped past this yesterday. Where were we yesterday? Okay, I'll give you a brief recap, right? So for the closing out this chapter from 20 to 23, Esther, she becomes basically in favor of the king, right? Mordecai told her not to tell anybody that she's an Israelite, that she's a Jew, right? The king had some chamberlains that they were wroth with him, meaning they were angry, and they decided to plot against the king. Mordecai, because he checked on Esther daily, because that was his loved one, he was by the gate. He heard them plotting. He notified Esther. Esther notified the king in Mordecai's name, right? So Mordecai saves the kingdom. Basically, he saves the king from some type of plot that his chamberlains were organizing, right? So we're going to jump into chapter 3, verse. So okay, we'll start out chapter 3, verse 1. So this is Esther 3, verse 1. For these things did the king Ahasuerus promote Haman, Salakia, the son of Amidath, the Agite, and advanced him as he set his seat above all the princes that were with him. Right. So there is a Salakia. He's an Amalekite, right? He's from the people that Saul didn't kill, right? And that's even why I played the video that was at the starting of this class, right? It's an excellent way to start this class, to close out this feast with the song by Natazab, right? Where he's getting at a devil who is trying to basically, when Kanye said he was a Jew, the devil came out with a rap song, right? So Natazab, he did his thing and basically destroyed that devil, right? And it's a well edited video, but the Amalekites, or the people who call themselves Jewish, who had us in slavery, right? They've been trying to exterminate us since the Bible, since biblical days, right? We've gone to war with them many a times, right? And this is what we're reading, where Haman, he was promoted. He would be what you call a Jewish man today. He was promoted above all the princes in the king's provinces, right? So he was basically number 2, Where are we? Where are we? Verse 2. This is Esther 3, verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not. Right? So what you're reading now, what I'm reading, what you're hearing is Mordecai, he decided that, listen, because he's a brother who he knows his history, right? He decided to bow not to his oppressor, to bow not to a people that hate him. So many brothers and sisters, y'all, because you don't know who you are, right? And you don't take your history seriously. Some of y'all know that we all the oppression that we've gone through, and y'all don't take it seriously. And then you're Christian on top of that. And Christianity, white man's Christianity, teaches you to love everybody, right? You forget that all the things, all the evils that have done to us, and you act like it's not a big deal, right? Mordecai, remember, he decided he's not going to bow to Haman, right? So many brothers and sisters are bowing to their oppressor right now, right? And they're quick to fight a brother, right? So many brothers and sisters in the world, right? They're quick to fight their brother or sister and go hug an oppressor as if the oppressor loves you, right? Mordecai, this devil did not love him. He gave no love to this devil. That's what we're reading, right? And you're gonna see what happens. Like if you see what happens when you don't give the devil the love that he wants. The oppressor he Bible speaks of, right? If not, who has terrorized the nation on this earth and destroyed Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to the point where we call ourselves Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? Where are we going with this? Slovakia, give me a second. All right, so we're just going to keep reading. This is verse 3. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgress thou? Slovakia, Lord God with me. Barak. Hey, Shalom, Barak. Yahweh Shem Yashai Barakatha.
Shalom, Marawan Yahweh Shem Yashai Barakatha. Give me 1 second, set up the camera.
Yeah, no sweat. I was just reading this real quick, right? Verse 3, then the king's servants which were in the king's gate said unto Mordecai, why transgress thou the king's commandment? Right? The king's servants, they're watching Mordecai not bow down to Haman, and they're saying, why aren't you doing as the king commanded? Right? Verse 4, now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, he hearkened not unto them. Like he wasn't listening to them at all. He was paying them no mind. And he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai his matters would stand. For he had told them that he was a Jew, right? Mordecai said, I'm not bowing down to you because I'm a Jew, right? And that's such a powerful thing, right? Because when you find out that you are the Lord's chosen people, right? It does something to you. I know it did something to me. Clearly, it did something to Barak, right? Barak and Allah, and he came in just like I came in, right? And it gives you a reverence. It gives you pride, right? It gives you something to stand up for,
right?
Right? Mordecai, he had something to stand up for. He wasn't bowing to Haman. Barak, we're in Esther, the book of Esther. Chapter 3, Salakia, verse, we're going to start at 5.
Karawakan. This is the book of Esther, chapter 3, verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
Just like the devil, right? Like you ever have you ever noticed that a devil, he wants to shake your hand, he wants to give you a hug, he wants to call you brother, right? And as soon as you decline all three, he is up in arms,
Karawakan.
right? Because you're supposed to love him. That's how he feels, because he rules the earth. You're supposed to love me because I'm in power. That's how all devils feel. Just decline their handshakes. See how sour their face get. Decline the "I'm your sister" or "I'm your brother." When they say "I'm your brother," say "No, you're not," and you're gonna see their face get screwed up something fierce. Right? That's how Haman is. That's how all devils are. Brock, you can keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 6. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had shewed him, the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews.
Right. Now listen, you this is perfect. Like Purim is such a, everything that happened before is happening again, right? For this Bible is alive. It's a book of living, right? It's stories from the past, but it's fully alive because you can see it. Listen, Haman, he wanted to destroy all the brothers. He said, listen, all those brothers and sisters have to go. Right? All the Israelites have to go. All the Jews have to go. Right? You just seen what happened to Kanye. You just seen what happened to Kyrie, right? They did it to Nick Cannon as well. As soon as you bulk up, right? And Kanye, for the most part, Kanye stood strong. Right? Kanye definitely stood strong. He didn't back down. And now Adidas is saying, listen, we've hemorrhaged too much money. We're like a gushing fountain of cash. They're just losing money, right? To the point where they want to go back to the table with Kanye. And Kanye didn't budge his stance. Right. Slovakia. Let's go back to where were we? So Haman, verse 6, Haman wanted to destroy all the Jews, right? Because that's what happens. Like, okay, and another example of this happening, right? I did a history lesson on this before, right? There was a boxer. Now, this boxer in his time, this is like back in, you could say this is around 1919, sometime around then, right? He was a brother. He was the heavyweight champion, and he was beating up devils left, right, and center, and dating their women. He was sleeping with their women. Those devils got so angry at that one, they went on a bloody rampage throughout that whole summer and massacred double digits of black towns. Right, like the number, I believe in Slovakia, the numbers, I think the numbers past 20. I think they ran through and massacred over 20 towns. They call it the Red Summer. Right, that's what a devil does when he's angry at a black, Hispanic, or Native American. They're angry at one brother, the whole village has to go, the whole town has to go. This is what Haman decided, right? Because one man wouldn't bow down to him. He said all of his people have to go. Brock, you can keep reading.
Karawakan. That were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. Verse 7. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pure, that is the lot, before Haman.
Right, so they were shooting dice. Right, let's find out what they were shooting dice for. Right, because they were playing a game. That's how oppressors. Listen, this is going to open your eyes to how oppressors view us. Right, Brock, keep reading.
Kanawakan. From day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar,
right? So they were casting lots to see who was going to kill us, right? That's what they were doing. They were trying to figure out how are they going to destroy us, right? Keep reading. Go to verse 8.
Verse 8. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people.
Right. So now after the oppressor, remember I said this is going to show you how the oppressor views us. He views us as livestock where they could just eradicate us at any time. Right. After they played a game to decide who was going to kill us. And listen, this is the spirit of the oppressor because they always have some type of movie where rich devils are playing a game of how they're going to murder people. Right. They if I'm not confused, they just came out with a movie not too long ago about that. Right. The movie starts in the trailer like they have a bunch of people standing in front of a mansion and they basically explaining the rules. You got to run. We're going to hunt you. That's what devils do. That's their spirit. Right. These devils, they love to kill. They love to take other people's lives for granted. Right, they have such a bloodlust that they go into the forest and douse themselves with deer urine to attract deer so they can shoot it with an arrow. Barak, keep reading.
Karawakan. In all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws of diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
Right. So we were separated from the Persians, right? We were people that the other nations feel they have to tolerate and put up with. Right. That's how Haman is explaining to the king, like, yo, this is just a people that you have to tolerate. You could just exterminate them. Like, we shouldn't have to suffer these people who have different customs than us, and they disrespect us by not following their customs. Like, okay, a devil's gonna say Merry Christmas to you, and you're gonna say what? Nothing. You're gonna say okay and keep it moving, and they're waiting for you to return the Merry Christmas, but when you don't, they want to question you about why you didn't return the Merry Christmas, or they're just dumbfounded, right? When they question you and you tell them you don't celebrate Christmas, they get angry because you're supposed to follow their customs, and if you don't follow their customs, they feel like you don't deserve to be alive. You don't deserve to breathe the air that they breathe. We're just tolerating you, and you're different from us. Barak, you can keep reading.
Karawakan. Salakia. Esther chapter 3. Salakia.
Wait, did you finish verse 8?
Karawakan.
Right. So with verse 8, right? Salakia, 1 second. Right. So again, we were opposed to their customs, and it shook the kingdom, right? All right, let's jump down to verse 9.
Karawakan. Esther chapter 3, verse 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business.
Right. So he's telling the king, like, listen, I'm gonna pay 10,000 talents of silver. Right. You do the math on that. That equals up to 342,000 kilograms of silver. Right. That number would be.
Good night.
What number is that? Listen, I got 1 second. I think that's 300 mil. Slovakia. Yeah, that's 300 mil, right? 385,977,780 dollars. That's what he was trying to pay to have blacks, Hispanics, and Native, to have the Jews killed. Right. There are, to even if you even Salakia, I'll do that after. Right. Let me see if I can find it. Hold up. Brock, you have your Apocrypha with you?
Well, Kanawakan.
Yeah, we might jump back and forth through this Apocrypha because I think there was some, I missed something that I should have brought out, right? So when we go back into verse 8, right, because it's just more on how we were separated from the heathens. Even in our captivity, we were separated, right? Which is a good thing. Like, we're in captivity now, right? And we're trying to be like our oppressors when we should be separated, right? We want this captivity to end, right? We should separate. We should totally reject all their customs, right? Just like Mordecai did, right? Just like the Maccabees did. Totally reject everything that they come to us with.
Damn right.
So I'm going to read something real quick. I have Esther 13. Salakia, where's 13? I'm in 13. We're going to read 4 to 7. Salakia, that's a lot.
Look, when you say you're going in the Apocrypha?
Yeah, I'm going to read something right quick, right? So this is the additions to Esther in the Apocrypha, right? This is chapter 13, verse 4. Declared unto, one second, where are we? Right. So verse 4, declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations and continually despised the commandments of kings. So the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward. Right. So this is basically a decree, right? Talking about basically the Jews, how they were separate from everybody. Right, they didn't follow. They didn't celebrate Christmas. Right, there was no Valentine's Day for them. There's no St. Patty's Day for them. Right, I'm saying all holidays currently that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans celebrate right now. Right, there's no May 2-4. There's no Victoria Day. Right, or like just imagine, bro, you know, Caribbean people come from the Caribbean where they're oppressed by England, right? They come to Canada and they have a good time during Victoria Day, right?
What kind?
The Queen's birthday, and they just lose their minds. Absolutely, they go to West Saga Beach up north and lose their mind.
Right?
Salakia.
No, Salakia, I would, if I may, I don't want, French Benjamin do pretty much the same thing in France, where they have the Bastille Day. They made a movie about it. In French, it's the Jour de la Bastille. You understand? Where they had like things like some type of French Revolution. They celebrated almost like every 14th of July. They find an excuse, you understand, to just celebrate whatever nonsense. While we still, not only are we still oppressed by France, but we are still owned by France.
Right. Good night. Right. So let's get more into this, right? Where are we? Verse 5. Seeing then we understand that this people alone continually in opposition unto all men, differing in the strange manner of their laws, right? Our laws are strange, Brock. Brock, you can't sleep with your brother's wife. That is strange to the heathen.
Karawakan.
Right, you can't eat no pork or shrimp or crab or lobster. That's strange to the heathen. Right, you can't command your servant to work on the Sabbath. That is strange to the heathen. Right, bro, they want us working 24/7.
Good night.
Right? some brothers and sisters are on call. So like, yeah, I would never want a slavery where I'm on call.
Lord one.
That means every day you are working. That's good night. Hey, check in the chat. Shalom Yahweh Bashim Shabrak Tha to Shayuan Thawada for checking in. Yahweh Shamal Thumba Shami Shai to Sister Kala Thawada for checking in. All right, we closing out the feast. I hope y'all are having a good time in your zones. Right, I was watching some of the videos from the school. Like, did y'all see that video that Captain Yachty put up?
Lord one.
Good night. Listen, you got to go to that Houston page. Go to Captain Yatazak's page. He had a Israel Got Talent. Listen, they had a song 1-2-1-2-5. They let the priests in the building, nigga. Salakia. Good night. Listen, I'm about to go listen to that again. I should have played that as the intro. All right, let's finish this out because we got a bit of reading to do. Actually, we could drop this. This is, if you read it, it's verse 4-7 in the addition to Esther in the Apocrypha, right? It just explains a little bit more of the decree that Haman put out. So, Barak, where were we last?
It's the Lockyaw one. We just finished verse 9.
Verse 9. All right. Reverse. Jump to 13.
Kanawakan. Esther chapter 3, verse 13.
Right, because between 9 and 13, Haman, after he put up some money, right? He put up a bunch of money, right? And then he put out the decrees to go out into every provinces, right? Barak's going to read verse 13.
Kanawakan. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old.
Sounds like Planned Parenthood to me. Good night. That sounds like a mysterious crate of guns just arriving in your community. Slakia, where'd that lighter go? I want to light some more incense. Good night. I have to get up first. I can't do that. Salakia, listen, that sounds like crack cocaine mysteriously showing up in your neighborhood, right? Like, bro, how all them M16s get into Martinique?
Good night.
Does anybody know? Right? Does anybody know how an M6? Do they even make M16s down there in M4s?
Right? So, one, we don't produce any type of firearms in Martinique.
So how did the guns get there, bro? Good night. That sounds like someone's planning our execution.
Salakia, one, if I may, there's two ways that firearms get over here. One is the oppressor. Well, I'm just gonna say it's just one way, right? Because even those guns that are brought from Venezuela, they come from the oppressors. Venezuela don't produce no M16s, no AR-15s, no Uzis. Right.
Someone's always planning our execution.
Right?
You can see that Haman was planning our execution. He put up 300 mil. He said he put up boss numbers. He put up that. Listen, that's something one of them Fortune 500 companies make, right? Yearly. Right. That's like the yearly profit. He put up that to have the Jews exterminated, right? Now, Salakia. Barak, do me a favor. Salakia, we're going to have to get these numbers, right? Actually, Officer Shayuan, if you're listening, Officer Shayuan, if you're watching, right? Get me the numbers of how much Canada donated, the Canadian government donated to Planned Parenthood, and how much the American government donated to Planned Parenthood, right? Let's see if they have those numbers, right? Barak, you can keep reading.
Kamakan. Little children and women in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. Verse 14. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day.
Right. So he's sending out this letter, right? And he's sending out the letter to a point where it's like it's to every province. And he said, listen, everybody be ready, because there's gonna come a day when we start to slaughter the Jews. Right. That's like Trump's dog whistle, right? When Trump was dog whistling, a dog whistle is like it's something that you say that oppressors understand, that like it doesn't seem overtly racist to the public, right? But certain oppressors understand what is going on, right? Like you'll see politicians do this, especially when they're on the more racist side. They'll say things to steer their racist base to the podium to vote, right, to the polls, right? But Haman, he sent these decrees out to the provinces and told everybody to get ready to slaughter the Jews. There's going to come a day when they start to slaughter the Jews, right? Now we're going to keep reading. Let's jump down to 4. Slovakia. 1 second. I gotta find where she stepped up. All right, so let's jump down to
Salakia, one.
Khan.
Also try one, put the numbers in the chat.
Khan, let's see. Action Canada. What's he say? Action Canada, formerly Planned Parenthood, will be given $2 million. The National Abortion Federation has been awarded $1.5 million. Right? So a total of $3.5 million in donations for our deaths. Right? The people in power are still doing the same thing that they did in the Bible. But Haman, he was big balling, right? Canada putting up chump change to Haman. Haman was big balling. He put up 300 mil, right? 385 million. 1 second. Barak, let's start at read verse 4.
Khan. Esther chapter 4, verse 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the cities and cried with a loud and bitter cry.
Jump down to 7, Baba Kasha, right? So Mordecai heard what happened, right? Mordecai heard what happened. He rent his clothes like that. That is an old Israelite custom, right? Where you hear some devastating news and you literally tear your garment, right? Some people put dust upon their head, right? You've seen instances where brothers will put dust upon their head and tear their garments, right? Because they've heard such devastating news. Like it's like, okay, if I was to even bring it to something close to modern, how people fall out at a funeral, right? You ever seen a brother or sister fall out at a funeral, right? Where meaning they're just so distraught that they just can't control themselves. They're sobbing and falling to the ground, right? That's kind of
Salakia, when you're breaking up.
Bro, can you hear me?
No, Khan, no, you're Tawab.
All right. Read verse 8, Baba Kasha.
Khan, Esther chapter 4, verse 8. Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to shew it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king, to make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people.
Right. So what happened was someone told someone, like, Mordecai had a go-to, right, between him and Esther, right, who was attached, right? So Mordecai is basically telling him, giving him something in writing, like, and telling him, go tell Esther to go talk to the king, so we're not all dead, right? Esther heard the news as well. Her, as you jump up, if you were to jump up to around verse 4, you'll see that Esther's maids and chamberlains came and told her of what was happening to her people, right? Slovakia. So that's what Mordecai was doing. He wanted Esther to go and plead for your people, right? Now this is a good sister, because she absolutely stepped up to the plate, right? So many sisters in the world. Good night. Listen, Barack, there's certain sisters in the world. If it was do something to risk your life to save your nation, Barack, we're all dead. Especially sisters in the world right now, Barack, we're dead. Like she gonna live in the palace. We're all gonna die, and she's just gonna, well, my people died. I'm good. I got a Gucci bag, right? They got a Birkin bag, so she don't matter. It doesn't matter to her if her people died. Like I seen you post that video about that girl who said she had pride, and then she described that she did not say no immediately to a sexual act for money, right? But she stated she had pride like 10 seconds earlier, right? That's the kind of sister that's in the world today, right? And listen, you brothers are no different. You brothers in the world, good night, y'all. So listen, y'all, the way brothers be acting in the world, that's a whole nother class, right? But tonight we're focusing on honorable sister, right? Like the women in the UPK, right? Barack, where are we at right now? Slovakia.
The one we just finished, verse 8, chapter 4, verse 8.
Okay, so jump down. You can keep reading. We'll read verse 9.
Karawakan. Esther chapter 4, verse 9. And I.S.U.P.K came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Verse 10. Again, Esther spake unto I.S.U.P.K and gave him commandment unto Mordecai.
Right, so they're talking, going in between. Keep reading. Right, they're sending messages back and forth. Keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 11. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know.
Oh, now she's saying, listen, all the king's servants and everyone in the provinces know this thing that I'm about to tell you right here, right? Remember, this is a king that he's king of 120 provinces. He's the man. He's the guy that's running the whole show, right? Keep going.
Karawakan. Whether man or woman shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called.
Listen, if you go into the king's inner court, right, meaning like there's an area where the king be chilling, like it could be his throne room, it could be a certain place in the garden that he chills out, or somewhere in a palace that, listen, this is his spot where he's chilling daily, right? That's the inner court, right? If anybody just shows up, like, you can't just pop up unannounced, right? You got to be summoned. This is a king. He don't play them games. You can't just pop up, right? This is what she's explaining to Mordecai. Keep reading.
Karawakan. There is one law of his to put him to death.
If you just pop up on the king unannounced, you're gonna get put to death. That's what she's explaining. Hey, Salakia, Officer Shariwan, Thawada. That was on point, right? Give Officer Shariwan a hand for that. Forgot to do that, Salakia. Barack, keep reading.
Karawakan. Except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter,
Right.
that he may live.
Right. So a scepter is it's kind of like a
It's like a staff
golden
bottom.
staff. Salakia Barak, what were you saying?
No, I said it's like you know a royal staff.
Yeah, like a royal staff, a golden staff, right? Like it looks really elaborate, right? I have jewels on it depending on the type of person that's sitting on the throne at the time, right? But the king has to hold out his scepter and tell you to come in. You can't just pop up on him. Keep reading.
Karawakan. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days.
Right. She's saying I haven't been called to come up in 30 days, right? So she's basically telling him, like, yo, if I just pop up on him, he's going to kill me. Keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 12. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words.
Keep reading.
Verse 13. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther.
More.
Think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house.
This
More than
brother
all
said,
the Jews. So
this, I'm going to get you to read that one more time in a second. But this brother said, stop being selfish. Don't be an individualite. Don't be an eating center by yourself. Right? Like, listen, I seen a brother, Salake, he want to be a total individualite. So many people, they hear this word and they just think they could just go do whatever they want with these books. Lord be with all you individualites. I pray you don't find the day of how evil it is to be an individual. I pray you come home before that. Bro, keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 14. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall there enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But
read that one more time.
Karawakan. Esther chapter 4, verse 14. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall there enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
Keep reading.
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And
right.
who?
So basically, Mordecai, he's charging her, right? He's telling her, like, listen, you gotta step up to the plate, right? So many of our leaders decided not to step up to the plate, right? He's telling her, if you don't do your job, you will die with us, right? The Sadducees and Pharisees found that out in 70 AD. You know who else found that out? Listen, Martin Luther King found that out. Malcolm X found that out. So many people who position themselves to be leaders over the children of Israel, if they're not teaching them the law, statutes, and commandments, and telling them to come back to their power, right? Their God, their Savior, we read about them being slain publicly majority of the times. And listen, Lord be with all those brothers. May they rise again and come into a kingdom without sin.
Karawakan.
Right. But that's what's happening. And the Mordecai, he's telling her, listen, you got to step up to the plate or we're all dying. You think you might not die. Right. All right. So Barak, you can keep reading.
Karawakan. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art to come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
Right. Like now check this out, right? She's been positioned as the queen,
right,
of the king's empire, right? And he's basically saying, like, listen, maybe this is the reason why you've been given this position, right? So now it's a time to do your job, right? And look at Okay, look at like a TD Jakes or a Kurt Franklin. Like, you see how charismatic they are, how they could get a bunch of people to just listen to them, right? Their job is not to be doing what they're doing now. Their job is to be teaching the law, statutes, and commandments, and how Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are Israelites, right? That's what they're supposed to be doing, but they don't do it, right? Esther is in a position where she could do something, right? And she's going to do it. She's not going to be like the megachurch Christian leaders, the Black Christian leaders that we have today, who don't do it, right? Even the small churches, they don't do it. They don't be a watchman for their people. They don't sound the horns and the trumpets and the shofars and let people know of the dangers ahead. Currently, they're co-signing that, what Shariwan say, that $3.5 million that's given to abortions. That's what the Christian church is co-signing right now. Right. Barack, where'd you finish? Did you finish 14?
Khan.
Keep reading.
Khan. Esther chapter 4, verse 15. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Verse 16. Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan.
Right. So Mordecai, Esther gave Mordecai an answer. Like, Mordecai charged her, and listen, she is a good daughter. She always listened. Right. This is not the first time Mordecai spoken to her like this, clearly. Right. She knows to listen to this man because he raised her. He's the one who's protected her and got her to where she is now. So she understood. Listen, a lot of sisters don't understand. There comes a time when there's a man you're gonna have to listen to. Y'all want to be so independent and 45 with apartment that smells like cat piss. Salakia, listen, I feel sorry for those sisters. That is a horrible life to live, right? Or they wanted to be so independent, and now they raise a son that's a whole daughter, and a daughter that, listen, she dances on anything that walks, right? Salakia. Barak, where were we?
Salakia, we're in verse 16 out of 1.
Verse 16. So Esther, she listened. She listened to Mordecai, right? And she returned back with this message, right? She returned back with this message, and it was such a, listen, she stepped up to the plate so much that it's 3,000 years later, right? Give or take a few thousand, right? And we're still talking about the courage this sister had, right? All y'all sisters in the world, if you happen to hear this, right, I have a question for you, right? This is my question to the sisters in the world. 20 years from now, what honorable and courageous things are we going to be talking about that you did? Right? Are we even going to remember your name? Right? Because a honorable sister, you remember her name. She Salakia. She has books written about her. Right? According to, I'm reading the book of Esther. She's in the Salakia, Brock. Let me show them what book we're reading. Yeah, she's in the Bible. Good night. And y'all say we don't honor sisters, and y'all say we're monsters to our sisters. We absolutely love our sisters. We've been having a 2-day party in honor of an honorable sister, right? And a brother, right? Mordecai, he's the one who basically seen this whole thing through, right? He's the one with the plan, and Esther executed it. Right, that sounds like a dynamic I can't say couple because that's a father and a daughter, right? But that's how a dynamic couple should work, right? In the sense of, sisters, y'all gotta start obeying your husband. He gives you an order, you gotta execute it, right? You can't be talking out the side of your neck every time.
Right.
Yo, Salakia. Breaking news. Barack, we need one of them. We need to get one of them Canva banners that says breaking news across here. Because Sean hit us with some breaking news on the closing of the feast of Purim. Right? That is Purim for those of you who don't speak Hebrew. For those who don't speak the Lashuan Kodash, right?
Right.
Officer Shayuan, Officer 500 Shayuan, he has an excellent Lashuan Kodash class at 7 p.m. on this channel. And if not 7, I might be wrong. It might be 8 p.m., but I believe it's 7 p.m., right? On this channel. Right now, let's see what Officer Shayuan said. He says, Salakia Adawan, those numbers is what Canada plans to give to help additional funding. However, I found an article that says Planned Parenthood collected $500 million via tax money. Heyman, Salakia, 1 second. I gotta go back. Where were we? What did Heyman give? Heyman gave, where were we? 3 and 9. If it please the king, let it be written, right? This is Esther 3 and 9, that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver, which came out to $385,977,780 in Canadian. We just read right here, Canada gave $500 million plus an extra 3.2 they plan to give. 3.5 they plan to give. Good night. And you say racism is dead. You say no one's out to attack blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right. Well, Esther was an honorable sister. We're going to recognize her and have a party, right? The courageous works that she did. All right, bro. Where were we? You can read 16.
Kawakan. And fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or
Right.
day.
So hold up. Esther's telling Mordecai, right? Gather all the Israelites, all the Jews, right? She's telling them, all the Jews that are in the province, right? She's telling them, y'all gotta fast for me. We got to do this thing together. It's like, listen, this is like Day of Atonement, right? On the Day of Atonement, the whole nation fasts. We all suffer, right? We all suffer. That's sort of what she's asking for right now. Everyone to fast and suffer, right? For a cause, right? Well, they're suffering because it's something that shows obedience to the Most High, right? Keep reading.
Kanawakan. I also and my maidens will fast likewise.
She is a good sister. She just didn't ask you to fast. She just didn't ask her brothers and sisters to fast. She said, me and mine will fast up in this palace as well for 3 days. Right? Listen, you will never get Kurt Franklin to fast 3 days for the nation.
La.
TD Jakes is not fasting 3 days for the nation. Right? Even that devil, you know, the devil pastor, right? He's the multi damn near billionaire. He's the one that said he was gonna blow COVID away. Y'all remember that? Bro, you remember that one? The devil, he's like, I'm gonna blow COVID away, and he's like, God. And then we had Omicron and Delta and more Transformers and like the DBZ version. Like I swear there was a Super Saiyan COVID out there, Slovakia, just tearing everything up. Good night. Right. Well, that devil would not fast 3 days for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Esther fasted 3 days for her nation. Right. And she asked her nation to fast 3 days with her. Right. Keep reading.
Khan. Da, da, da. And so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish.
Oh, wait. Shoot, Salakia, bro. You got to read that part one more time. Right? Because this sister, she said, listen, after we fast, I'm going to step to that king. Right? Hey, listen, this is bravery. Again, Barack, man, could not. Listen, maybe, you know what, Barack? Listen, there might be just a 1-2 sisters out there who will basically sacrifice themselves for their nation. Like there might be maybe one, right? Hopefully she comes into this school, right? But majority of these sisters, good night. Listen, Barack, we're all dying if she gotta go in onto the king. She's in the position, Barack, we're all dying for some of these worldly sisters. But there might just be one that comes into the school. You never know. We'll see. Right? Barack, keep reading.
Khan. Verse 17. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him.
Right. So Mordecai went his way because Esther listened. Right. The sisters in this school right now, they listen. They listen to their camp leaders and to their husbands. Right. Some of these sisters don't have husbands. Ooh-wee. Right. Some of these sisters, you might see them with white corsages at the Passover. Some of these sisters have husbands and they totally listen. Ooh-wee. Right. It's such a good thing to have a honorable sister. A sister that listens is listen, I think if you have a sister that doesn't listen to you, you're slowly dying. Right? You're gonna find yourself in some situation that is eventually going to take your life because she just doesn't listen. She wants to argue with you every minute. But for the brothers who have ribs and daughters who listen to them, it's such a beautiful thing. Right? And as we read this story, you're going to see why it's beautiful to have a sister that's courageous, that's honorable, that will listen to you. Like Esther. Esther was honorable till we're remembering her. We have this feast every year. Listen, this is actually my first feast that I ever came to. I didn't even know there was a feast named Purim in the Bible. I didn't even know there were feasts in the Bible. I thought it was just a book of words.
Right.
And then Abban checked up on me after I texted him one day, and he kept checking up on me. And he showed me so much brotherhood. It was like a magnet to come into the school, the brotherhood that Officer Abban showed me. And he invited me to Purim out in Montreal at the library. Good night, Brock. That was it feels like such a long time ago, but it was good night. What a wonderful event. And I was hooked. I was like a salmon on the hook. Like I was ready to go. Right. Brock, let's get it.
Khan.
Now.
So can we just finish chapter 4 out of 1?
Yeah, let's jump to let's jump to verse 5. Chapter 5, verse 1.
Esther chapter 5, verse 1. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the gate of the house.
Read.
Khan. Verse 2. And it was so, when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight.
Listen, this sister was so beautiful. When the king saw her all dolled up and all dressed up, right, in her garment, right? Listen, she didn't, right? You know what Esther was not doing in the court? She was not in the court in bati riders. She was not in the court in a tank top with all her cleavage out. She
Right.
was not in the court in just a bra and panties. Like a lot of these sisters go outside. Like some of these sisters just go outside in bra and panties. I'm convinced. Like they're wearing nothing at all. She said it's a dress. It has holes in it and you can see through it. It's like, what are you dressed in? A clear bag. She's dressed in saran wrap, bro. She came out in saran wrap. Like, I'm dressed, I'm ready. It's like, what are you talking about? Esther was fully gowned out, right? She had on a garment that the king thought was absolutely amazing. She subdued the king, right? Another cheat code, ladies. I just gave you another cheat code. Y'all should be taking notes. We don't even get paid for this, and we be dropping gems on y'all. We don't even get paid for this, right? Our payday to come when Yahawashi comes. For now, we're just here doing this in the spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood, and it keeps us rich. It keeps our zeal fiery. It keeps the oil in our lamps, right? I'm gonna give you the cheat code. Barak, read that verse one more time.
Kawakan, Esther chapter 5, verse 2. And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight.
Cheat code. Esther was fully clothed, looking elegant, and she obtained favor in the king's sight. Cheat code, ladies. Write it down. Right. This is something listen, unfortunately, your mom's never taught you that, right? The more clothes you have on, the more pretty you are. The less clothes you have on, the more ugly you are.
Damn right.
Inside. When you're in the house with your husband, by all means, y'all do whatever you want to do. We need more babies in Israel. When you're in your house with your husband, right? But outside, the more clothes you have on, you could subdue a righteous man, right? Just at the glance at the moment, until he starts to talk to you. Like, listen, until he starts to talk to you, then he'll decide if you're worth it or not, right? Barak, keep reading.
Karawakan. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand.
He saw her and he drew her in. Keep reading.
Karawakan. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Verse 3.
Salakia, what are we on for time right now? 1 second. All right, keep reading, Barak. We're gonna push through this.
Kawakan.
I like this chapter, right? It's basically the setup. It's like when you watch a movie, there's certain scenes in a movie that you need to see these scenes, right? Because then it's a puzzle. It all makes sense in the end. So I could jump through bits and pieces of this chapter, but we're gonna push through this chapter, right? Give Barak y'all a hand for reading, right?
And the bar, I don't want.
All right, Barak, keep reading.
5, verse 3. Then said the king unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
Keep reading.
Verse 4. And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know if y'all sisters are catching this, man. Listen. Lord Allah, I don't have a daughter for now. Salakia. I won't say that, right? But Listen, when I have a daughter, I'm going this. She's gonna say Papa or Abba or who knows what she's gonna call me, right? I don't know. She's gonna ask for a bedtime story. I'm gonna read her the Book of Esther. Listen,
Right.
this is the perfect bedtime story for a sister. Esther was standing there with all her clothes on, and the king was ready to give her half the kingdom. Barak, keep reading.
Karawakan. Verse 5. Then the king said, cause Aman to make haste, that he may do as Esther had said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Right. So Esther, listen, she's moving sick. She has a Salakia. That's just okay. That's just another way of saying she is moving like a tactician, right? She's moving like with like a sister with a plan, right? She invited Haman and the king to a banquet, right? Remember, Haman wants to kill all her people. She invited this man to a banquet. Keep reading, Barak.
Karawakan. Verse 6. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee.
Keep reading.
And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed.
Listen, he still wants to give her half the kingdom. Keep reading, Barak.
Karawakan. Verse 7. Then answered Esther and said, my petition and my request is, verse 8, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it pleaseth the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I will prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king had said.
Right. So listen, she's asking for a request, right? And she asked, found favor, right? She's asking for the king and the queen to come to this banquet. She's asking for the king and Haman to come to this banquet that she's going to prepare, right? And she said, if I'm favorable, king, or however she spoke to him, she's saying, if I'm favorable in your eye, you'll come to the banquet with Haman, right? Now jump down. All right, jump down to 14.
Karawakan. Esther chapter 5, verse 14. Then said Zeresh, his wife.
Right, this is Haman's wife, because Haman now, he went back home happy, and he's talking to all his friends and everybody that's around him and telling them about all the riches, right? All the riches that he has. He's telling them about what's going on. He's telling them about how the queen invited him to a banquet, right? And now his wife is going to speak, right? Barak.
Karawakan. And all his friends unto him. Let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high.
Right. So the wife goes to her husband, to like Zeresh goes to Haman and says, listen, let's make a gallows 50 feet high. Right. She's saying this in front of everybody, right? Everybody that was there, right? She wants to build a gallows. Keep reading. And listen, one second. Barak, you know what I got from that, right? This is for brothers who think that you could love the oppressor's daughter. She's just as evil as he is, right? Because Haman wasn't even thinking about a gallows. It's his wife that decided to build the gallows, right? It was an oppressor's daughter that lied on the brother Emmett Till. It was the oppressor's daughter that would lie on many brothers. It was the oppressor's daughter that lied about sleeping about being raped, being abused by a brother, and really she was sleeping on her man, right? And she told that to the oppressors, and the oppressors went and murdered everybody in Rosewood because of her lie. The oppressor's daughter is just as deviant, just as evil, just as dirty and disgusting as he is. Keep reading.
Kanawakan. And tomorrow speak thou unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged thereon.
She said, listen, you're at a now listen, and that's his woman. She knows her husband. She said, listen, you're at a good point right now. You should go to request the king that Mordecai be hanged on the gallows that we're gonna build. Right? Keep reading.
Kanawakan. Then go thou and merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
The Haman was excited. He was happy. He said, ooh, he said, listen, nah, he didn't say ooh wee, but he said, whatever devils say, I don't know what the hell devils say when they're happy. They say some weird stuff. Be on them construction sites, those devils, when they're in a good mood, if you're black, run. You just stay far away from them because they be on some disgusting. Listen, I don't even know. Listen, if they are, the construction site is the LGBTQ community. Salakia. I'm gonna say it like that. That's all you have to know about Caucasians and construction sites. Right. Come on, Barack, you got something?
I was gonna say, when they happy to start barking and wag their tails.
Good night. Yeah, that's what they do. Good night. All right, so we read 14.
Wakan.
Yeah, we Tawab on time. We're definitely Tawab on time. So we're going to jump to Esther 6. What's in Esther 6? Jump to 6 verse 6, Baba Kashar.
Wakan. Esther chapter 6, verse 6. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart,
right,
to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself?
Right. So listen, Haman, the king asked Haman, what can I do for you? Right, to the man that I'm about to honor. Right. And Haman said, listen, what can I honor unto myself? Right. Who is due more honor than me? What should I have done? Right. And this is what Haman answered. Brock, read verse 7. Right. Because what we're reading is how the oppressor always feels. Remember, he's had this in his heart. These bastards who have our culture right now running around like they're us have always been trying to kill us since the days of us walking out of Egypt, to Haman, to them telling Ye that, listen, you can't get access to $70 million that's in your account, according to him, right? Saying, listen, this German company can't even do business with you. It's a German company. Adidas is fully German. Right. And now they realize the mistake that they made. And they're trying to get back in bed with Ye. All right. Listen, just like my captain said above me, the only way he should do something like that is if he's coming for a piece of the company. Right. Listen, they want him to sell off that product. He needs like 10%. He needs 5% of the company, 10%. Listen, just give him his 10% and keep it moving, because it's a sinking ship over there. Adidas, I don't remember. Salakia, the last time I probably wore Adidas for real, them shell toes.
Yeah, right. That's it. Salakia.
Yeah, them shell toes, like Adidas. Who rocking those?
That's it, other one.
The black Air Forces is just too wild for me. So, yeah. All right, Brock. Let's read some more. What were we reading? Where were we?
Esther chapter 6, verse 7 out of 1.
6 and 7. Con.
Esther chapter 6, verse 7. And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Verse 8. Let the royal apparel be brought, which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head. Verse 9.
Read. Con.
And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal, whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback to the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
So he's the king is basically telling Haman, I'm going to put a royal robe on you, put you on give you a crown, and put you on a royal horse, right? And parade you through the streets in honor, right? Let's see what Haman says.
Karawakan. Verse 9. And proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Verse 10. Then the king said to Haman, make haste, and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hadst said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew, that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken.
Right. So listen, he said, listen, you could rock the robe and take the horse and the crown, and you could even go hang Mordecai. Do everything that the king has spoken, that you have spoken. Right. Read verse 11.
Karawakan. Verse 11. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback to the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor. Verse 12. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house.
Wait, hold up, stop, hold that right there. I'm just looking for something. Right, read verse 11 again.
Karawakan. Esther chapter 6, verse 11. Then took Haman the apparel and the house, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor.
Right. So listen, you have Haman, right? He has Mordecai that he brought him on horseback through the city. He's basically slapping him in the face, right? Because the king honored Mordecai at one point, right? He's slapping him in the face, and it's delighting Mordecai, right? Now we could precept this with Psalms 23 verse 5. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies, right? The Lord will prepare a table in the presence of your enemies, right? Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over, right? The Lord will be with you when you're with your enemies, especially when you're with the Lord. You keep his law, statutes, and commandments. You don't have nothing to worry about. You listen, Mordecai was not really worried. The Lord was with him in this moment, right? You're gonna see how it turns out. Let's keep reading. Salakia, let's jump.
Salakia, one. You're breaking up.
S jump to 7 verse 4.
So like when you were breaking up, what was that?
Esther 7. Read.
So like when I can't hear you, you're breaking up bad.
Bro, am I back? How about now?
You're still breaking up, Adawan.
Good night. The oppressor is the devil, the Bible speaks. So let's see if that
You
works.
sound too loud right now.
Right, that worked. I had to say the oppressor is the devil, the Bible speaks of. It worked. Salakia. Listen. Oh man, Barak, jump to Esther chapter 7.
Kamakan. Esther chapter 7, verse 1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. Verse 2. And the king said again unto Esther, on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request?
Right.
And it shall be performed.
Rock, hold that right there. Hold that right there.
Oh,
Right.
God.
Hey, shalom, sir. Officer Adiyar. Yahweh Shem Shai Rakatham. Salakia. Right. So, Brock, hold that right there, right? So the king, again, he's asking Esther, like, yo, listen, I'm at your banquet now, right? I got Haman here with me. What are you asking for? What's your position? What's your petition? Like, I know you want something, right? That's another cheat code. Listen, ladies, when your head comes home and you have his meal all cooked, and you have his strong poured in a cup that I don't know how he likes his strong poured, but listen, I have my glass in the freezer, take it out all frosty. You'll damn near get anything you want out of your head. Another cheat code. The king is asking Esther, he's asking her, what does she want? She prepared a whole meal for him, a whole banquet. And he's like, listen, what do you want? Salakia. She knows exactly what to do. Right. Barak, let's read. Where are we? You read verse. You finished 2?
Loud one.
Finish 2, then jump to 4.
Kamakan. And it shall be performed even to the half of the kingdom. Esther chapter 7, verse 4. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage.
Right. So she's basically saying, like, yo, listen, my people are being sold off. And during that time, like, I held my tongue. I didn't say anything. And the enemy couldn't do anything to stop the damage that was already done. Right. The way she is so tactical in this situation, because she has the man she's about to accuse sitting across from the king. She is the queen. The king wants to give her half of his kingdom just because she's so beautiful and so elegant. Right? She's playing chess. Esther is Salakia. I don't know if they had chess back in the day, but she because of the coaching of Mordecai, she's an excellent chess player.
Damn right.
Right. Mordecai coached her up how to be a Tawab sister. Right. And that's what a father does. That's what a good father does. A father doubts and stays up late over a sister. Right. He worries and he tries to train her to be the perfect wife for a brother. Right. Like Adiyar said, she had game. She made that man a meal. Right. She came to the king's court looking amazing. Then she made him a meal, right? Now they're at this banquet, and she has a whole banquet prepared for him, and she is going to lay it heavy, right? She is about to lay it heavy in an attempt to save her people, and the accuser is sitting right across at the same table. Barack, where'd you finish?
Just finish verse 4 out of 1.
Read verse 5.
Kanawakan. Esther chapter 7, verse 5. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he, and where is he?
Right. Listen. Right. The king is bugging out now. Remember, this is a man who has marched men to their death. He's taken over 120 provinces, and his queen, his beautiful, a woman that he thinks the whole world of, a woman that he's ready to give half of everything he has to, is going through heartbreak, and he's bugging out. He don't want to see her cry, right? It's like any husband who loves his rib. He doesn't want to see his rib cry. He gets angry at when she cries, and if some man in the world makes her cry, he wants to, Salakia, for lack of better words, he wants to put that man in the hospital. And the king he's bugging out. He said, who is he? Where is he? Right? He's asking the questions. He's trying to find out who the hell did this. You could just imagine Haman is across the table hearing this. he would be shitting bricks right now, Salakia. Bro, keep reading.
Kanawakan. And where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? Verse 6. And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman.
Right. She dropping it right now. She said the adversary and the enemy is Haman. Right. You could precept Psalms. So like your bro, jump to Psalms 1:41 and 10, right? You could also precept Psalms 38:12 and Psalms 9 and 6. But bro, get me 41 and 10, Baba Kasha.
Kawakan.
141 and 10, Salakia. Psalms 141 and 10. Right, is that what I have here? Yeah, Psalms 141 and 10.
Psalm chapter 141, verse 10. Let the wicked fall in their own nets.
Right. Listen. Hold that. Read that one more time, Barak.
Psalms chapter 141, verse 10. Let the wicked fall into their own nets.
The wicked sets traps, right? They set traps. Okay, here's an example, right? I think we brought this out during Saturday. Right? Canada is about to start selling cocaine. They're about to make cocaine and start selling cocaine. Sooner or later, they're gonna legalize it. It might not be right now. It might be 10 years. It might be 20 years from now. But they're going to legalize cocaine use in Canada, right? Oppressors set drugs up to sell to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. In 2020, you had what they called an epidemic of overdoses of Caucasian people on heroin, the same drug that they put in our communities in the 70s, right? We read that again, let the wicked fall into their own nets. While it's that, I will escape, right? While the wicked are falling into their own nets, the children of Israel into their own nets, into their own traps, right? We're going to escape. You can see it. Listen, the children of Israel are waking up to the fact that we are the Israelites, right? You see every day some oppressor hunched over on the street like they're a bending stop sign. You see it on the bus. You see it everywhere you go. They're falling into their own nets, right? let me jump back to where we were.
So like everyone, give me 1 second, Baba.
Khan, no sweat. Where were we? 7 and 10. 7, we were chapter 7 and 6. Esther said, the adversary and the enemy is the wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and queen, right? He was afraid right now because she had game and she set him up. She set him up something fierce. He's before the king, and the king is now wroth, and he's looking to Haman like, yo, what the hell have you done? Right? Salakia. Let's jump to Esther, where we read 6. Let's jump to 10. This is Esther 7 and 10. So, 1 second. All right. 6. Let's jump to. Let's jump to 8. Oh no, we'll read 9. And Harbona, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also, again, this is Esther 7 and 9. Behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high. Right. So they basically found out Haman had a gallows that he was set to hang Mordecai on, right? Which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, right? And they're reminding the king, listen, you remember the man that saved your kingdom from the chamberlains and the people at your servants at the gate who were planning to kill you, right? They're reminding him of that. Standeth in the house of Haman, right? So he's saying that the gallows is still standing in the house of Haman, right? This is the gallows, right? A gallows is the structure that they would hang people on back in the day. Then the king said, hang him thereon, right? Again, you read that precept that we just read, right? Let the wicked fall into their own nets. Haman built a gallows to hang Mordecai. And Haman was hung on those said gallows, right? Let's read verse chapter 8. So you're seeing now Haman was hung on those same gallows that he was trying to kill Mordecai on, right? And because of this is going to lead into the feast of Purim that we're going to celebrate, right? So let's read verse 8. We'll jump to 5. And said, if it pleases the king, right? All right, so the king holds out his scepter to, this is the context of what I'm going to read. The king holds out his scepter to Esther, right? This is after the fact of the hanging of Haman, right? So let's read 8 and 5, right? This is Esther 8 and 5. And said, if it pleases the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and if the thing seemeth right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letter devised by Haman and some of the Hammedath, the Agite, Salakia, son of Hammedatha, the Agite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's provinces. Right? So she's telling the king, like, listen, reverse that letter that Haman put out. That's what I want. Right? Again, she risked her life, but she had game. She risked her life and she had courage. She's honorable, right? But she had game, so she knew exactly how to play the game. Some of y'all sisters don't have game. Y'all don't have a lick of game. It is horrible. Like, y'all think telling a man what you're going to do to him sexually in the bed is going to get you in his attention for more than maybe 3 times. 3 times y'all gonna have sex. And then he's gonna forget about you because you were just too easy. You had no game. You didn't make him work for it. You didn't make him wait for it. You didn't make him think about you. You had no element of surprise. You walked outside showing everything that your mom gave you. Shit. Some of y'all walked outside showing everything you got from some doctor in Brazil. Slovakia. Where were we? Verse 6. For how can I endure to see evil that shall come onto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? Right? She's asking, she's pleading with the king, like, how could I be the queen and see my people destroyed? This is something. All right. So Esther had to ask for the decree to be nulled, canceled. The king did so and gave us authority to defend our lives against those, right? That's what we're going to read, right? Esther's pleading for her people because she's in a position of power.
Right.
I never seen Jay-Z plead for us. Like, I like Jay-Z as a rapper. I never seen him plead for us.
Uh-huh.
I like Denzel as an actor. I never seen him really plead for us, right? But they don't really put Denzel as like a community leader as much as they put the drug dealer, right? So I'll stick with Jay-Z. In the black community, Jay-Z is the community leader, and Denzel is just the actor that we watch on TV. But I never seen Jay-Z plead for us, and I like the brother as a rapper. He could put some words together, right? Listen, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. We call General Muhammad. Slovakia. But, right, there aren't too many that plead for us as leaders should. And at this moment, she's in a leader position. She is the queen. She's basically the person that we can go to and get into the king's ear, right? Barack, you could read, where was I? We were in 7, no.
Chapter 8, verse 6.
We're in 8. Yeah, we're in 8 and 6.
Khan. Esther
You can
chapter
jump down
8.
to 7. Jump down to 7.
Khan. Esther chapter 8, verse 7. Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews.
Right. So you're finding out that the king, because he loved this woman, right? He did what she wanted because she was elegant. She was a sister that, oh, Salakia, Barack jumped out. All right. So because she was a sister, that was elegant. She was honorable, right? Because she was honorable, the king gave her Haman's house. Haman tried to kill her and her people. The king killed him and gave her house, gave her his house.
Right.
Keep reading, Barack.
Karawakan.
Wait, what verse are you at?
We just finished verse 7. We're jumping down to verse 8.
Read. Yeah, you can read verse 8.
Karawakan. Esther chapter 8, verse 8. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. And for writing which is written in the king's name, and sealed with the king's ring, may no man reverse.
Right. So he's letting them know, right? You're being given a chance. Salakia, I'm gonna say it like this, right? The king said, I'm going to reverse it, write it in my name, seal it with my ring. The seal was, back in the day, they had a ring that they would use to seal. It was like the king's signet, right?
Right.
I will show you. King David, right? This is David's signet. If you can see it, I don't know if y'all can see this, right? This is the Magundala. This is David's signet, right? He would have a ring. It would be on his finger, and they would write some scribe. He would press it. Boom. In wax. It's sealed. It has David's signet on it. It's like his signature, right? That's what the king is telling him to do. Was that the end of verse 8? Yeah, jump down to 11.
Karawakan. Esther chapter 8, verse 11. Wherein the king granted the Jews, which were in every city, to gather themselves together and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
Right. So the king basically gave us the power to defend ourselves, the power to not be harassed, the power to not be destroyed, because his queen's people was us. And because he loved her, and because she was courageous, and the Most High was definitely with Mordecai and Esther in this situation, so much so that we're reading about it thousands of years later, right? Because of that, the king gave us the power to defend ourselves, right? To make sure that no one's going to come and do what Haman tried to do, right? And Haman paid a price, right? So many of you devils out there, right? You are going to learn the error of your ways. You're going to learn how evil it was to touch the apple of the Most High's eye, the children of Israel, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The
Right.
people who had their children in residential schools, the people who had to pick sugarcane, the people who had to cut cotton, the same people that were forced to speak Spanish on the Western Hemisphere. Right, I don't need some Filipino coming to me saying, look, I'm an Israelite because I can speak Spanish. Yeah. All they know is Michael Jordan. They are not no Israelites. Right? You got some fake Israelites. Listen, there are fake Israelites in Toronto that let Hamites in. Good.
Right.
Listen, Lord be with them. Right. Barak, we're going to jump to chapter 9. Right. Let's get into the Feast of Purim. Because this is such a wonderful thing that we had to have a feast for it. We Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we like to party. Again, in every school right now, they're having a party. They're having a good time. Some of us have to get up and go to slavery. Just think, if we're in our own kingdom, this is a 2-day holiday. This is 2 days you're not going to be working.
Right.
You went to work Sunday, and today we went to work. We'd have just been chilling, right? Salakia, Barak, take me to Esther 9 and 20.
Karawakan. Salakia, 1 second, other one.
Yeah, no sweat. Right, so we're gonna read Esther 9 and 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the kings of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, right? Both close and far. He sent these letters, right? Barak, take over from 21 if you're able to.
Karawakan. This is the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 21. To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly.
Keep reading.
Karawakan, verse 22. As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor.
Right. This is a day we turned it into just a holiday. We turned it into a day where we stopped mourning and we realized we're going to live. So we decided to have a feast and we'll send gifts to each other. We'll go out and feed the poor of us. Right. Of us is important because again, the whole world just wanted to hang us. Like every nation just got advised to hang us at the words of Haman. Right. And
Right.
Haman's hanging and we're alive and we're celebrating. Right. Keep reading, Barak.
Kanawakan, verse 23. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them. Verse 24. Because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast pure, that is the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. Verse 25. But when Esther came before the king, he commended by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head.
Right. So that's just giving you a rundown of everything we just read, right? Because Haman wanted to kill all the Jews. Him and his friends, they casted lots to see which one of them would kill us and which way they would kill us, right? Then the queen, she went out onto the king, and the king, he reversed his decree after he hung Haman. Keep reading.
Karawakan, verse 25. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
And the king killed his sons. There was no more line of Haman in that time, right? Listen, Salakia, there shouldn't have been a line of Haman anyways. Saul was supposed to get rid of all of them, right? And they became a thorn in our spine. Keep reading.
Kanawakan, verse 26. Wherefore they called these days Purim, after the name of pure. Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, in which had come unto them.
Right, so they named the feast that we're in right now, the feast that we're closing out, they named it Purim, right? After being pure, right? We were saved. We were saved, and we had a feast because we were saved. This is something that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans commonly do, right? We always have a party, and this is one thing. Listen, okay, growing up as a kid, I thought the Bible was such a boring book. Come to find out, Barak, there's 7-day feast days in here.
Kawakan. Good night.
It's 7 days. And I was like, Barak, we had a party for 7 days at Barak's house, Salakia. we ate unleavened bread, right? We just had a good time. There's parties and festivals, and this is one of them. We went partying for 2 days. In Texas, they had Israel Got Talent. I'm about to go back and watch that video. So yeah, listen, I got to make it to Texas. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, Barak. I'm about to go make it to Texas. Right? Headquarters, Philly, Texas, Nashville. Nashville definitely is somewhere I gotta go. I gotta go see Officer in a Shock. I gotta go see Yawa. I gotta go see Barak, right? Salakia, Barak.
Salakia, Officer Yashikar, he's trying to make me move to Texas.
Listen, Barak, I don't blame you. I don't blame you, Barak. Salakia. Canada is cold. We get flash winters in the middle of July. I just don't.
Good night.
I understand. You wake up one morning and it's freezing. It's just totally freezing. You're like, yo, this is July 31st. And you're saying, oh no. Barak, let's keep reading. We're short on time.
Kanawakan. Verse 27. The Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days, according to their writing, and according to their appointed time every year.
Right. So, we basically said, like, we're going to do this and it's not going to fail, right? We're going to do this forever. And Rockefeller, he had this spirit on him in his time, in his younger, stronger days, right? He had this spirit on him, and he raised up Commanding General YAHANNA for us, who kept the torch burning, right? And because of those men, right, the men above us and the men who came before us, were able to have the Feast of Purim. Else we would just be some niggas in the world, right? If it wasn't for those men above us, we'd all be getting high right now. We'd all be chasing whores. We'd be selling drugs. We'd be listen, 1,000 demons would be our friends.
Right.
But because of head priest Ariel, who raised up Commanding General YAHANNA, we're not that. We are now the priests of the Most High, and we remembered and learned. We have a celebration called Purim, and we've been partying for 2 days. Barak, keep reading.
Kanawakan, verse 28. And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
Read.
Verse 29. Then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm the second letter of Purim. Verse 30. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus, with words of peace.
The letter was, hold it right there, Barak. The letter was written, right? Esther, her being the queen, right? She certified it. So, like, if y'all hear me properly, it looks like my bars are low.
So, like, it's a one.
Okay, so Esther certified this letter, and Mordecai, he sent it out to 127 provinces. Listen, that sounds like the king got more provinces, right? But he sent it out to all the provinces where the Jews were, right? And we decided to keep these days for forever, that it wouldn't fail. It's 2023, damn near 3,000 years later, and we're still keeping it. The Christian church does not keep it. I had a talk with a brother the other day, and it slipped my mind to ask him, right? Why doesn't the Christian church keep the high holy days? But I'm gonna see this brother again because I always see him, and he likes to talk the Bible. So when I see him again, I'm gonna ask him that question to see what his answer is, right? And I'll let y'all know. Barak, keep reading.
Kanawakan. Verse 31. To confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matters of fastings in their cry. Verse 32. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book.
Right. So listen, that is the Feast of Purim. We closed it out. Give that a hand. Right. Give that a hand. Listen, this is our history. This is the thing that we're supposed to do. It feels so good to know your history, right? This sister had courage, right? Again, I ask these sisters in the world. This does not apply to sisters in the UPK because there's stories for days about the excellency that the sisters in the UPK do. But sisters in the world, we just finished celebrating. We're wrapping it up right now. A 2-day celebration about a honorable sister from, you could say, 3,000 years ago. You sisters in the world, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what honorable things are we going to be saying about you? Or is your child going to be fighting everybody in the high school over your OnlyFans? All right. Once again, I'm Priest and Officer 1000 Zabaja of the I.S.U.P.K. under Commander General YAHANNA. Started out 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We teach that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites. We're going to continue to do so, right? You're not going to stop it. This truth will not be stopped. With that said, I'm going to pass the class to Priest and Officer 500, Brock Yala.
Hey, clap it up. We get the I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. started out on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. And Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10, means tenth in the Hebrew. Ma'ashara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priest, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation. We have the Lord's 54th annual Passover. You understand? It's going to be April 1st, 2023. You understand? Saturday, sundown, April 1st, 2023 in Raleigh, North Carolina. You understand? Contact your camp leader if you want to attend. Make sure you attend this event. This is the most important high holy day of all the nation throughout Israel. You understand? Reminder to all Akim and all Akwatian to check the bulletin board in the hallway of the school if they have a physical school. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. With that, so we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Mena visual amajam, which means to stand. Mena visual, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Mena visual amajam Shabbat. Amajam, Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat. Yajamata, which means hands down. We're going to give a courtesy to the sisters now. Sar, which means to turn. So turn and face the sisters if you have any in your presence. Menavishal Amajam Shabbat. Majam, Barak, Yahweh Shema, Than Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yajamata, class dismissed.